Like they're lining up. Well, they're excited.
Welcome back, guys. We're the Sons of Mjolnir. Thanks for tuning in with us today. If you're coming back, we're glad to have you. And if it's your first time, thanks for finding and joining us. I'm Gorgon.
I'm Fat Thor.
I'm Cap.
And guys, today's going to be a little bit different. Today's going to kind of be more like a conversation like we'd have on Twitter. We're all here for fun conversations that we interact with you guys with, our friends, our mutuals, everyone with on Twitter. And today we wanted to tackle the idea like what would be not as much fan casting but fan pitching, a dream pitch in comics, and to talk on that kind of handles that we kind of discuss, where we're coming at with stories on our favorites. So I think let's start this off with, I want to know what's your guys's favorite run with your fave characters. Thor, let's start with you today, bro.
Well, that's a loaded question, honestly, for me. Everybody knows that I am, very easy to please. I rarely have, major criticisms on stuff. And especially when it comes to Thor, I'm pretty biased I pretty much love everything. But if I have to pick a favorite run, I gotta go with Walt Simonson. Walt Simonson run. That's probably, at least in my opinion, the kind of gold standard of Thor books that every Thor book since has been kind of trying to meet. And, it's a little dated these days. I can't remember the exact dates that it came out, but, it came out a good while ago. But I mean, you get introduced to Better Ray Bill, and it's just that kind of old school cosmic Viking adventure kind of thing. Like, he really leans into the cosmic side of Asgard and Thor. And like I said, I mean, while I love other runs, and the other run that I would probably say is Jason Aaron's Thor run, because that is also just incredible. But I feel like we wouldn't have Jason Aaron's run without Simonson's run. Like, that wouldn't be possible. So like I said, if I have to pick a favorite, it's got to be the Walt Father, man. All hail the Walt Father. Like I said, it's the gold standard in my opinion, and I feel like it will be for a long time.
And see, on the flip of that, I love Aaron's run. That was probably the run that got me big into Thor back in the day. So
yeah, well, I would say, like I said, if I can go in deeper to it, I guess I would say the story of Jason Aaron's run, I probably favor more. Like, just the Gore the God Butcher, Mighty Thor, all that. Like, the story, I think, is
it's like an 8-year arc, right? Like, it's a huge deal.
Exactly. And like I said, I think I personally like the story better. But again, it's just like, in my opinion, I feel like we wouldn't have got there without Simonson. So it's like, I have to give praise to the building blocks that gave us those other great runs. You feel me?
Respect to the GOAT. I get it.
Absolutely.
Cap, how about you? Tell everybody about your favorite Captain America run.
Okay, so this might come as a surprise to most of you. Absolutely no one. Big Dog.
Ooh.
Yeah, so obviously Brubaker is my favorite. Everything about it, like the feel, the vibe. Like, I personally love a spy thriller. I love the espionage of it. The feeling of not knowing what's coming next. The return of Bucky, like, who would have thought that would have come about? And for him to be the Winter Soldier as well, also the mystery surrounding the Winter Soldier. Who's he working for? That all of it blows my mind from the start. The death of Red Skull. Who would have thought that too?
Fair enough.
The relationship between Steve and Sharon, everything. It's just perfect. The death of Cap. Bucky taking over.
I think it's the run that got most people in comics to care about Bucky Barnes, right? Like,
100%.
I don't think Bucky Barnes would have where he is in notoriety as a character without Brubaker's run. I don't think, Bucky Cap would have been respective or received such well response without it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I personally, on Twitter, a lot of people that I interact with all come to me with the Bucky Cap. Like, that's their favorite version of Bucky. Like, Yeah, fair enough. Like, I think they undermine Winter Soldier a lot. Without him going through the Winter Soldier phase, we wouldn't have got the Bucky cap. So,
Hmm.
like, I think both of them go hand in hand. You can't have your favorite being, well, obviously you can't, but like your favorite being Bucky cap also, you have to sort of like have that love for Winter Soldier too, because he
Hmm.
wouldn't have got to where he was without that, you know?
Kind of the
Absolutely.
same way like Thor was saying with Walt, you couldn't have Aaron's run without Walt's story. You
Yeah,
couldn't have
yeah,
Bucky Cap without the Brubaker run to set up
yeah, exactly.
character growth.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too. Could you guys imagine like reading that as it was coming out? Like, I mean, at least for me, when I read, Burbaker's run for the first time, I knew that Bucky was the Winter Soldier. I mean, it still didn't take away from the story, but again, like, can you just imagine reading that as it was coming out and being like, "What, Bucky? Like that little kid from the original comics? What do you mean he's the Winter Soldier?" Like, I could just imagine how that blew people's minds.
Yeah, the only comics I was reading then was Spider-Man, Batman, and Captain America. So at that time, like I wasn't really aware of who Bucky was. Like
Hmm.
I knew who he was, but I didn't realize the impact that had. So I was like, oh, cool, this guy's Winter Soldier. And then the more I got to learn about Captain America, I was like, holy shit, that was a big moment that I
Yeah.
just completely glossed over,
Hmm.
you know?
And I think too, which Cap, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like, in my opinion, that run is one of the runs that kind of not brought Captain America back, but I feel like before that, a lot of people had the kind of thought of Captain America as like, oh, that's the Boy Scout. Like he's
Yeah.
just, kind of, for lack of a better word, I guess, boring character. Not saying like that's how I thought. I just feel like that was the kind of consensus at the time. But Burbaker's run, at least in my opinion, it seems like that was one of the not first runs, but one of the runs that really kind of showed like what you can do with Captain America as a character and like the kind of lengths that you can go with him and the deeper kind of themes. And he's not just this, Boy Scout, all American guy, which I mean, he can be at times, but he's a lot deeper than that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's like for a lot of people, it's the run that put Captain America in the spotlight. It's what
Mm-hmm.
made him interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. What about you,
Banger.
Gorgon? What's your favorite run?
Man, it's a shocker, shocker, shocker to everyone. No, it's absolutely the Kate's run, right? It's look at my background. It's absolutely the Kate's run. With that in mind, I think like you guys are mentioning, we wouldn't have the Kate's run without some of my favorite runs before it. Remender, Bun, notably probably the two most, right? Dan Slott did a lot back in the day for Spider-Man and where we'd head with Venom and symbiotes, and I think we got to give some recognition there.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Brock has been on this story realistically, since very early on as a character of in a lot of ways trying to grow and failing in a lot of ways, but constantly trying, people seeing him, wanting him to be better, right? It's the majority of his time in comics, he's been an anti-hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Borderline hero trying to get it together and held back with his own guilt and the weight of his past, a lot like Peter Parker. Right. And Peter Parker carries a lot of guilt and stuff that he shouldn't, that he's tried to deal with, and he's became a hero very quickly through it, right? As opposed to Eddie is, what if you had that guilt of who you were in the start? It's not a good person, and you're struggling with that, constantly trying to be better,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think in the King in Black run, or it was in Extreme Carnage. Dr. Stevens said it best, right? Eddie Brock is just a man beset by cosmic forces that he could not control, right? He's he was not a good person, but he quickly realized he was wrong. He's tried and tried to be better. He's worked with Spider-Man, adjacent to Avengers, everybody, mutants over the years, all this stuff. And I think Kate's run is probably forever from now on going to be the pinnacle moving forward, is the gold standard for symbiotes, because he took all these themes of character growth that had tried to make it with Eddie Brock and Venom and really pulled them all in and made that the focus of the story, right? Without making it the focus of the story, right? We have him saving the universe twice, realistically, right? Like defeating Carnage before Carnage can take over all of Earth, and then in the end defeating Null and replacing him as the King in Black and changing where we move forward for symbiotes from history from now on, right? He wove lore into Marvel Comics history with symbiotes without having to do a ton of retconning. The man's good at what he does, and it's I guess it truly is his trials and tribulations run, right? I think that's important. Every character in Marvel that's big really has their trials and tribulations run. And I definitely think that was Kate's run for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would say, going off of what you just said, obviously, I was kind of one of those people before I read the Kate's run under the impression of like, oh, like again, this is just my opinion, but just
No, it's
feeling
fine.
like Venom worked best with Spider-Man. Like I was, big into the Spider-Man animated series as a kid. I was huge into Spider-Man books as a kid. That was like probably the main comics I read as a kid. And during that time when I was a kid, he was most often a villain. And he was,
Right.
his whole thing was he hated Peter Parker and he hated Spider-Man because he rejected the symbiote. And in my mind, that's kind of how I felt. And like I was just like, yeah, like, Venom's cool. Like I like Venom and stuff, but I just feel like I wasn't interested in his solo stuff really, because I was just like, if he's not with Spider-Man, then it's like whatever. But after reading the Kate's run, that completely changed my mind. And obviously, we've been friends for a little while now, so you've been educating me about the sim lore for a while, and it, like I said, really opened my eyes to one, how good of a character Eddie Brock can be and the depth that he has. And like you said, he hasn't been a villain in a long time, and like I said, that just wasn't on my radar. And
I mean, since like
the run,
I'd say mid-late 90s on, right? For sure. I think is the best goal point for comics for us to say he's been struggling with anti-hero-ness, right?
yeah,
Since then,
I would
right?
say probably since Lethal Protector, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and on, right? Remender, Bunn, that whole deal. I know I'm a Cullen Bunn shill. I just went off on him
We
last week
love
on the
Cullen
pod, but
Bunn.
Cullen Bunn's time in symbiotes is always one of my favorite writers to see. A lot of people don't know his War of the World story in the middle of Kate's run was wrote by Cullen Bunn, right?
Ooh.
Like, and Bunn took time to make it feel like it was right there in the middle of it all and woven perfect, right? Like, yeah, I definitely think if anyone out there's looking for Venom stories to lead up towards the Kate's run, I'm sure you can go all the way back with Remender and the Protector and stuff, or you can hop in and Cullen Bunns too. And we have, we see Agent Venom pop up, we see Mania pop up a lot, we see Eddie Brock with Toxin, right? Like there's a lot of depth there from Bunn that Cates wouldn't have been able to do what he did without the playoff of, I think. And in the same vein that you guys had with your faves, you need to understand some of the context from the foundation set prior.
Yeah, and that's why this is kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent, but it relates, I think, is it always kind of upsets me when people try and say, like, perfect example, Jason Aaron, like with Avengers, right? It's like a lot of people don't like where he's taking that run, and like people will say like, oh, well, he's just doing away with everything that was set up before. Or like another, for example, Donny Cates with Hulk. Like they're like, oh, he's just doing away with Immortal Hulk and all that stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of always rubs me the wrong way because it's like these writers, like they're not stupid. They're comic fans too. And it's like they are fans of that run that you are a fan of. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think any writer comes into a book and is like, I'm just going to completely mess all of this up and just, you know what I mean? Which I mean, obviously some writers, they want to just do their own thing, but I think every writer respects what came before. And the idea is to make your own thing, but build off of what has been built. And I don't know, like I said, a little bit of a tangent, but that always just kind of rubs me the wrong way when people try and pit writers against each other like that. I don't know.
Well, I'm about to pit y'all against some writers because that leads perfectly into my next question. Because, like you said, no writer comes in and immediately goes, "I dislike this, man." But I'm gonna ask that question. I want to know, after knowing your fave run, what is the thing you dislike probably most, either story wise or moment wise, from your fave? And we're gonna start with Cap for this question. What is your least favorite moment with Cap in either a full run or a moment in a run? Ultimate Cap.
Ultimate.
Ultimate Cap. Ultimate
That's
Cap
fair.
all day.
Hey, that's
Um,
fair.
I will argue that until I die. That is the worst Cap story I have read. Let me explain why. So, for quite a few reasons. Number one being he's wrote in, like, before I get started on my reasons, I know it's set in an alternate universe. I know it's completely different from 616. And yes, you do play about with different characteristics and stuff like that. But to write someone so out of character, just give him a different name. You know, um, a character such as Captain America shouldn't be racist. He shouldn't be inhumane. He shouldn't care so little about human life that it's so easy for him to take it. You know, um, just everything about it just grinds me the wrong way.
Would you feel better if they called him U.S. Agent?
Yes, yeah, that would be more fitting. I, I don't like how he used guns. I don't like any of it. There was, to be fair, there's one thing I like about it. At the end of Ultimate Cap, at the end of this run, after he beats Nook, he sits down beside his bed and reads him the Bible. That was quite nice. I quite like that. That was groovy, let's say.
Groovy.
That was
So
yeah, that was one.
how do you feel about the idea of, because I know it gets tossed around on Twitter a lot, Donnie Cates is a huge fan of the Ultimates comics, and we know that the Maker, who played a huge role in his Venom run, comes from the Ultimate universe, and he touches a lot on, he has plans to pick the Maker up again one day and potentially write the Ultimates. How would you feel about a modern revitalization of the Ultimate universe and having it clash with the 616?
See, now don't get me wrong, not everything about the Ultimate Universe is bad. Like Ultimate Spider-Man is one of my favorite Spider-Man runs ever.
Agreed.
Ultimate Venom, that was one of the biggest parts of my childhood was Ultimate Venom. He was terrifying. Carnage, Jesus Christ, that the first panel of Carnage, that was terrifying. Nick Fury, I really like Nick Fury, but I just cannot get over Ultimate Cap. But back to your question before I, spiral. I would like a modern version of the Ultimate Universe. If we get to see Ultimate Universe and 616 not necessarily clash like the incursions in Hickman's run, but like meet, or I'd like to see like the differences on page and then like just seeing how different they are rather than nitpicking off page. I'd like to see, like, say for example, the two Caps. Oh, hey Steve. Hey Steve. It's like, what do you do? Oh, I'm incredibly racist and I kill people. What about you? I'm the exact opposite. Something like that.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say I'd like to see a modern version of it.
Definitely.
A little less racist.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can all get behind that. I think it would be cool, like Gorgon was saying, if they did like bring the Ultimate Universe back. I think it would be kind of an interesting way to maybe kind of rewrite some of the problems that were in the Ultimate Universe. And not necessarily rewrite it, but I don't know, bringing them back, you can give them a little deeper context and maybe
did see in the end of Venom in Kate's run, right, the final issue, right, in 200, in his discussing with the Avengers about the Maker, he mentions the Maker's plan, as we know from the Council of Reeds, is to restore his universe by any means necessary. And he
Exactly.
means to conquer ours if necessary in order to restore his. So it's less of an incursion and more of like a forced takeover kind of situation that he's trying to do. And the setup for that, I really hope gets to pay off one day.
I
Because
think it will.
I almost want him to win for a moment.
I mean,
I
yeah,
am.
I'm all for
hate
that.
Maker. I don't want to bat for him. I hate him. He is such a despicable person. I think he's an incredible character, right? And I almost want him to win just for the incredible, terrifying power that man has potential to be.
It's
Yeah.
like that saying goes, you love to hate him.
Yeah, facts. Now, what about you, Thor? What's your least favorite moment or run with your fave?
Again, it's super hard for me because, like I said, I'm a very easy critic. There's not many things that I really don't like. But I guess if I had to pick something, what comes to mind probably immediately is one. It would probably be Thor in Civil War. So when they make that Thor robot and like get him to kind of join that, I even forget what side he was on. I think Iron Man. But yeah, like the Thorbot thing, I did not like that, and like I don't know, it
That's
just felt
horrible.
like, yeah, one, it's kind of just like I thought it just kind of a stupid idea, and two, it's like Thor's a god, like he's not getting. That's what I kind of liked about the MCU Civil War is that he wasn't involved because it's like this is some mortal ass shit that is going on with Civil War. You know what I mean? Like this is some Earth like bickering kind of stuff, and in my mind, it's like Thor, like, yeah, Thor is friends with these people, but he's not getting involved in these little quarrels. You know what I mean? Like that's mortal shit. But like I said, that's probably one thing that comes to mind. And another one is I gotta agree with Cap here, the ultimate version of Thor. I mean, there's some good moments in there. I'm not gonna say like I hate the entire thing, but if compared to other Thor runs, you know, like we were just talking Aaron's run or Simonson's or Kirby and Stan Lee or Jurgens, it has to go at the bottom for me. You know what I mean? It just there's good in there, but there wasn't enough good to outweigh the underwhelmingness that I felt.
No, I get that. That's a fair point.
But I will say though, I do love his Mjolnir in the Ultimate Universe, the like axe hammer.
Yeah,
I do. It is sick, and I loved how they brought it back in Jason Aaron's run with War Thor and all that. I thought that was amazing. Yeah. So again, there's good things in there, but as a whole, just not my favorite.
No, man. If you have to have a top of the list, you have to have a bottom of the list. That just that's just how that relationship works.
Please tell me you come up with Thorbot. That's your saying.
Yes, it is now. I'm coining it.
Is now.
Right? Yep.
Thorbot.
For Venom, for me, it's hard as a Venom fan to pick my least favorite. I mean, it's kind of not. I feel like I'm gonna anger a lot of Spider-Man fans here in this, but Dan Slott's Anti-Venom is probably my least favorite. Eddie Brock with Anti-Venom, I think, had a lot of potential for him to grow, right? With what the antithesis of Venom is with it, him wearing that, I think, had a lot of setup, right? Anti-Venom with Flash is iconic, right? He is Agent Anti-Venom, right? What he's done with it is nuts. What it's led to with his rebirth and Silence now and all is a huge deal. And I feel like a lot of it was wasted. His run has a lot of racial stereotypes, racial profiling, misunderstanding of drug use. It has some outdated ways we talk about sex workers that are misogynistic in there. It's just got a lot of it just didn't age well.
Yeah.
I think is the best way in it. It just didn't hold up for time. For me, and it's just weird to read, and that doesn't necessarily make it a bad story, right? It's got a couple things I like on it. I really like how he wrote Frank Castle. Frank was just man on a mission, asshole hard, had his ulterior motives, used Eddie Brock and them to get what he wanted, right? It's very much, I felt like he understood Frank Castle for the time, and I would have wanted like a whole little slot mini of just him dealing with some Frank Castle stuff out of that. So I like the way he wrote Castle, and Castle wasn't even the biggest part of that little mini. You know, yeah, it just didn't age well for me with the Brock story, with the addiction, the way it talked about drug use and stuff. It just doesn't age well, in my opinion. You know, and that's just my take on it. Maybe I'm blinded by my life experience and a couple things that have happened to me between the age of 20 and 30. But yeah, it just didn't age well for me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We talked about this, I think, a while ago. And yeah, a lot of that stuff does not only does it not age well, but it probably wasn't even cool at the time. But, you know, there's a lot of books like that, unfortunately. I mean, you read some of the stuff from like the 50s, the 60s, there's a lot of stuff in there that is just like, whoa, this like this was cool back then. So,
and I think what makes it different for me is we expect that, right, with stuff from back in that era. That's to be expected. For something so recent in modern history of it, I feel like it feels so much worse for me when reading, because it is more recent, right? If you would have told me that some of the stereotypes in it and things made happen like 20 years prior to it, I'd be like, absolutely, totally, we can all just, but no, it's too close to recent history for it to have that kind of grace, you know? Well, now looking at your faves and then looking at your least fave moments on them, on this, I want to know, guys, we're going to get into the nitty gritty, what everybody's here for today. I want to know what your dream pitch would be if either you got to write a story or you wanted a writer to write a story for your fave. How would that, what would you like it to be? Whether it's just like, you know, the principles you'd want in it, certain things you'd like to see happen, or a full-on pitch for it. Lay it on me. Which one of you gents wants to coin toss and go first?
I'll throw it to Cap first, because I know that he's got a good one and he's got his points laid out. So let's throw it to Cap.
Lay it on us, Captain Ireland. Let's go.
Let's go. Right. So yes. First of all, I am writing the story. It is me. Are we talking creative team, like whole creative team, or just artist and
you
writer?
tell me. Get after it.
Right. Well, I only have 3 from the creative team picked. I am writing, me, the top dog. Jason Fabok, or however you say his surname. I'm not very good with surnames. You should know this by now. And Brad Anderson is on colors. Okay. So
okay.
The story is called The Hunt. If any of you follow me on Twitter, you will probably have seen this maybe once or twice. But this is just an expansion on that. So yeah, it takes place after an Avengers. So it'll bounce off the back of an Avengers run / mini. It'll go hand in hand. I'm not writing the Avengers mini. That's too much work for me. I'm just one man. But yeah, it takes place after an Avengers mission. Cap is on cleanup crew with shield and damage control. He's helping with cleanup. He will be, you know, doing all that sort of thing because he's a good Samaritan. Afterwards, he's on his bike. He's heading home. He's down a highway, whatever. Gets blown out from under him. Okay, but who has blown it out? He then gets hit by the Serpent Society and Zola, but with them is Rhino. Yes, shocker. But anyway, so they all, Serpent Society, Zola is obviously the brains behind the operation. He has it planned out to the bottom. He anticipates that Cap evolves to the situation, but he has that planned. So he has Rhino there for muscle, solely just for muscle, just to tire him out, take down Cap, that sort of thing. But while all that's going on, Serpent Society are then trying to trank Cap with so many tranks, enough to bring down Rhino himself. They think that's enough to bring him down. Unfortunately, it is. They get the best of that. So they take him away into a secret base in remote wilderness. That's whenever issue 1 breaks. So issue 1's sort of just a filler. It's yeah, just letting you know what's going on, what's going to happen, sort of thing. Then we break into issue 2. We see first page, first panel, Cap's tied up. Oh no, they've got him. So he scans the area. He sees what's happened. He's like, right, okay. He cuts himself loose, but Zola also anticipated this. So he has himself hooked into Cap's comms. So while Cap's running or whatever, escaping, he then radios over to Cap on his comms. He's like, what was it? Unlucky Captain America. There's no escaping. You're trapped in here with us. Little pause. Cap replies, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
Oh, on his Liam
That-
Neeson.
That's I'm quite proud of that one. But anyway, so yeah, Cap then fumbles about, finds out where he's at, sort of thing, learns the terrain, plans his next move. But Zola has also planned, like he's sort of directing Cap into like a location where he wants him. Cap has picked all this up. He's seen the signs. He's spotted every little thing that Zola's planted here and there. Then we break off into issue 3. This one is titled The Hunt. That's I'm coining that. That's mine.
I'm into this.
Say you need to
sold on this
trademark all
story.
this, dude.
I gotta say, I for all you listeners, I challenged these guys with the idea for this podcast not even a week ago. And I gotta say, you're blowing me away right now, Cap. Bravo, bro. Straight up impressive. Round of applause for Cap on the story.
We need to email Marvel right now.
Right, let's go. I love it, man.
So we get into issue 3 then, The Hunt. The Serpent Society, I'm just going to label the Serpent Society, Zola, and others as the group, just to sum them up, rather than saying each individual one. The group believe they have Cap on the back foot. They think he's running, that he's scared, he's terrified, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're highly underestimating him. But, like I said, Cap evolves to each situation. So as they come out and hunt for Cap, he has it all planned. He's directing them into the perfect position. As they get closer to Steve, Steve gets closer to them, but they're unaware that Steve is at arm's length. They think, right, he's been heading this way. We're probably, 10, 15 meters away. Cap's behind him. He's maybe in a tree. Who knows? He's maybe in a bush beside them, listening. But yeah, they're unaware that he is basically beside them, listening, planning, Then we break off into issue 4.
You got the whole arc ready to go. I'm into this. I like it a lot.
I'm telling you. We break off into issue 4. Cap then starts inviting them in, leaving little crumbs. I'm going to be here. So the group splits up. The group consists of 6 members of the Serpent Society. It also has Rhino. Zola is off in base because he's a little bitch and he's not going to come out and fight because he's a little bitch. But there's also Craven. They have invited Craven in because Zola has planned for this.
The Hunt is the title. Look at you.
Yeah,
clever bastard.
I was literally about to ask, is Craven part of this group? Because this
he's
perfect.
a damn part of the group. But so the group breaks off. Serpent Society breaks off into 2s because there's 6 members, 2, 2, 2, blah, blah, blah. Craven and Rhino then shut off. But Craven and Rhino start getting under each other's skin.
No,
Cap
that makes
has
sense with their
anticipated.
personalities. I see that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Cap sees this, but he then flutters back round behind each group, starts slowly picking them off one by one or 2 by 2, depending. I haven't worked that one out yet, but he starts picking them off anyway. The last group Cap is left with is Diamondback and Constrictor. Now, for any of you Captain America fans, you will know that Cap and Diamondback has a big history. Now, where's this leading to? Yeah, like I said, it starts getting good. Um,
Starts
so yeah,
getting good, man. This is
It's
already
very
good.
good. I listen. As soon as you take pre-orders available, let me know. I'll Venmo
Yes.
you. I got you, dog. This is a run.
Say, we need to start writing up some scripts, man.
Marvel better listen to this Fancast Pitch Edition podcast. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh.
that's I'm super impressed, bro.
Thank you. The last group being Diamondback and Constrictor. Cap then takes out Constrictor first because he wants to ask, Rachel, what's going on here? You know, them two come face to face. He lays down his shield and he asks, why? You had a child, you got out, and she's like, I know, I had to come back. It was our child.
What?
Yeah. Nobody knew, not even Cap knew. She was the only one that knew. Somehow Zola found this out. Again, another plot twist.
Oh my
Ian,
God.
Cap's son from Dimension Z, is dying. Zola needs Cap's help because he thinks his blood is the only one that will help with Ian's disease, terminal disease. So he goes and he finds Diamondback. He recruits her, tells her, I need your help. I have your child. I know it's Captain America's baby. We're going to use that to my advantage, blah, blah, blah. So then Zola thinks he has it won already, but then Cap and Diamondback come up with an idea. Right, okay, I'll help you get your baby back. Now, Diamondback is the only one that knows Ian is there because she knows the overall plan, but she doesn't tell Cap this. She doesn't tell him about Ian, his other son. So Cap agrees to get captured again to get Baby Diamondback. Baby Diamondback. I can't say it. Baby Diamond Cap. Baby Diamond Cap.
Say that 5 times fast.
I
Baby
like
Diamond
that.
Cap, Baby Diamond Cap.
He tries to get Baby Diamond Cap. I got it that time.
Smooth.
But then whenever he gets captured, Zola reveals Ian, another baby Cap. Not necessarily a baby anymore, he's an adult now. Ian tries stabbing Cap because Ian hasn't a clue what's going on either. Zola's the only one that knows all this carry on. He tries stabbing Cap. Cap then disarms him, restrains him. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know, so not really a great move on Cap's end, but he's going to put him to sleep so that him and Zola can talk. But prior to this, Cap has contacted Sharon for Shield's help before knowing that there was a baby Diamond Cap. Shield then starts firing missiles at Zola's base. Oh no, there's a baby in the vicinity. Cap gets the baby. Cap gets the baby to Rachel. She then runs. Okay. But the missiles are still coming in. The first one, it hits Cap. He gets up, he shakes it off. That's nothing, Then a second one comes in. Bang, hits Cap again. Under the building, it blows it to hell. Cap is lying. Then a third one comes, hits the same building. So we think Cap is under rubble. Shield and Sharon are looking for Cap. Like, oh no, he's dead, blah, blah, blah. They think he's dead. They check the rubble, they check everywhere, absolutely everywhere. But there's no Cap. There's no Steve. Where's he gone? Boom. Ends on a cliffhanger. That's it.
I like that.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
what? Oh my God. That was
Hell
so
of a story.
good.
Hell of a
Thank
story.
you.
Dude, oh my
Thank you.
God. The twists and turns. I was on the edge of my seat. Oh my
Oh, and
God.
that's way more detailed than my pitch. God
I was
damn.
saying-
Like I think we can just hang up the call. This can be the Cap episode. He's beat us all. Like,
For
thanks, guys.
real.
That's the show. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
I was saying, can we just end
Like,
the episode
damn.
there? I gotta seriously follow that. Are you kidding me?
Bro. I can go next if you want to tone it
Dude,
down.
That was so
Oh,
good,
shit.
dude. I mean, the thought that you put into that and the twists, the turns, like I love the characters that you picked too. Like it's a really interesting cast of characters you got. And I mean, it's just I'm blown away, dude. It's super good. I want to listen to the pitch again just so I can hear you say Diamondback Diamondback Baby Cap again.
Baby Diamond Cap.
Baby Diamond Cap.
Yeah, man. I think the only person who's gonna hate it if they hear this episode is probably gonna be Carol Ann on Twitter, because you know she's here for the Rhino redemption arc. Like, damn you, Marvel! Like, let the man be a hero, right? Like, yeah.
Oh, he ain't getting no redemption in this arc, I'll tell you that one.
Yeah,
Not in this
Cap,
one, not in
Cap
this
said,
one.
not in my run,
Yeah.
damn it.
I like that, man. Thor, you want next?
Thank
You want me next? What's popping?
Yeah, I'll go next because mine is going to be a lot shorter and a lot simpler than Cap's. I like we talked about before. I feel like I'm not really good at this kind of stuff, so this kind of question really got my mind turning, and I was really trying to think of stuff. And again, it's not as detailed as Cap's was,
Same.
but so
That's impressive.
so since you brought the question up, I've been kind of racking my brain about this, and again, I don't have it as detailed, but I have, I think, my kind of main points of what I would like to see. So this is like if Marvel called me and is like, hey, we want to do a Thor story. We want you to consult on it. What do you got? So in this dream scenario, I'm not necessarily writing this book because I don't consider myself a writer, but more so as, again, like the kind of creative consultant, as you would. I'm the idea man in the room. So my idea, I wanted to kind of think of something that kind of encapsulates all of us because I don't know, I thought it would just be fun. So my pitch would be, so we have Thor, obviously, and my pitch is going to deal with Thor and Null. And so in this story, what happens is going to take place basically right after King in Black. So before a lot of the Kate's run, before the God of Hammers arc. And in this story, after Null is defeated, we have basically Hydra is going to find a piece of the Grendel, the big symbiote dragon that Null rides. And they're going to take this little piece of the Grendel and start experimenting on it. And so when this starts happening, who is going to investigate other than our lovely Captain America? So in the story, Captain America's, he's doing his captain shit. He's going, taking down Hydra, and he finds this, that they're experimenting on this piece of the Grendel. For the facts of this story, I'm just going to say that, Eddie Brock is off doing his King in Black stuff right now. So that's why he's not involved here. But so next person Cap thinks to contact is Thor. Thor has a long history with the symbiotes, especially with Null. And I don't know, I just always love Cap and Thor teaming up. And I love the kind of age-old plot device of like a mortal teaming up with a god and like having that, duality. So I wanted them to team up. So that's how they get together. And basically, again, I don't know how it all connects yet and how all these pieces come together, but the main idea is I want Null is trying to come back. He's, lost in the void after being defeated. And in order to do that, he's using the piece of symbiote to, one, take over Hydra, and Hydra will be his new kind of little minions of symbiote people. And also I want the symbiote and or Null to corrupt Mangog. So I don't know, the idea of Null, Mangog being possessed by like the spirit of Null and like being influenced by Null, I think just sounds super freaking cool. And I would love to see a venomized Mangog. So that's kind of my major idea. And obviously Thor and Cap are going to have to battle Mangog and Null to stop him from coming back. But yeah, that's kind of my, like I said, main points. I think it would be super cool to have Mangog back. For people who don't know, Mangog is basically a being that's composed of the rage of like a billion people. He, like, the planet that he's from died off, and all the rage and sadness of those people were encapsulated into Mangog. So in my mind, I feel like Null would love something like that. He would feed off of all that pain and suffering and rage, and they would be the perfect conduit for him to kind of infect and try and bring himself back into our world.
I like it very much. Mangog, I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
Same.
man.
I did not expect that when you started off with Knowles trying to come back that it would go to Mangog. That's gotten kudos.
Yeah, like I said,
I like that.
I don't necessarily know how it all will connect and how it all will go down, but again, I know that I want it to be Thor and Cap. I love their relationship together. They have a very strong bond with each other. I think more so than probably any other mortal to Thor. And he, rarely respects Captain America. So I knew I wanted to bring him into the fold somehow. And also too, I want to add, again, I don't know how it happens, but Better Ray Bill is showing up as well. He's joining this fight just because, I mean, how can you not have Better Ray?
How can you not?
Exactly.
I like it. I'm into it.
And plus, Better Ray's got Twilight too, so that will definitely come in handy with Null and Mangog. So
it's tight.
Null and Mangog. Now that sounds like an Avengers level threat. Huh?
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
I like that.
I like it.
That would be that's like, again, that's what I would like if someone asked me, like, what would you like to see in a Thor book? That's what I was, not anything that's going to, completely change, how we look at Thor and, completely revamp the character. My thinking, this is just a fun, exciting adventure with some cool action, some awesome fights. And, at the end of the day, our team is going to, obviously beat the bad guy. But yeah, just a fun kind of adventure.
I like that. I like it a lot. That's real creative. I didn't expect a nullified Mangog to come out of your pitch, and I'm really impressed. That's very impressive, sir. I like that.
Thank you, guys.
You have me very intrigued now. I want to hear more.
Hey, well, once I think of it, I'll tell you all about it.
I like it a lot. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to try and bring something from all of us into this pitch. Because, I mean, while obviously Thor is my guy, I also do love Captain America and Venom as well. So I wanted to think of something that could bring all of us into the sandbox so we can all play along. I think
that's my favorite thing with having you two as friends, have meeting y'all through the Bird app and having our chat and the show together, is we've all found like a greater love and appreciation for each other's faves. And I wish more people on Twitter would make close friendships with their friends on comic Twitter and have those talks and develop that new love and appreciation for each other's faves where it might not have fully been there before. I'm blessed to have you guys.
Yeah, same to you, my man. And for a lot of people, I don't think anyone even knows this. We've never even really talked about it. But I mean, that's where the whole Sons of Mjolnir name comes from. The reason that we decided on that name was because all three of our favorite characters, Steve Rogers, Captain America, Eddie Brock, Venom, and obviously Thor, have been worthy of wielding Mjolnir. And we felt that all of our three favorite characters, they're very connected in a deep way throughout the history of comics with, Thor and the symbiotes. And like I just talked about, Thor and Steve Rogers have a very deep connection and friendship in the comics. So yeah, like I said, I don't think we ever even really talked about that, but that's why we even came up with the name of Sons Mjolnir.
I have both of y'all in my pitch as well.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get into it then.
So this is one I've been sitting on for a while, man. In my head as a symbiote fan, it would be me in the pitch room, not writing it because I'm not the writer, but I can pitch all day. And there's a lot of missing pieces that I feel like have not gone anywhere that it seems to me like there's an obvious answer for. And I'm not sure how I'd name this or not. This story would be centered around Andy Benton. I truly believe she is the future of Marvel symbiotes. I really do. No, she's had just as many symbiotes she's been host to as Eddie Brock. With it, she has had symbiotes attached to her since she was a teen, right? She now has silence, and the powers silence have are insane. Ignoring Andy's powers, which we'll get into in a minute, on her own without a symbiote, right? It's the potential of cutting the hive is crazy. And I tie in Ghost Rider. At the end of Brisson's run, we have a lot going on with the spirit of corruption and stuff with Ghost Rider, right? We come into this new run going on now, but in the middle of the King in Black event, we learned a lot of things. It ends with Mephisto in the Ghost Rider special takes back over Hell, but he has a pet symbiote in a cage that came from a dragon from Null. Now that should terrify everybody, right off the bat. Okay, so Andy Benton is going to mentor Dylan Brock and Bren. Bren is the current host of Toxin. They are kids, they are teens, and that means we're also going to get along for the ride Sleeper, right? And I just drew a blank. Hank, his host, right, is going to become aware of what's going on here is as a unit, and she needs their help in the middle of mentoring them because Mephisto is trying to do stuff with that symbiote to take over, and eventually take over, like make hell crazier, develop like demon symbiote hybrids, come out into the world, right? He's trying to pull Carnage in. Shit's getting crazy. Mm-hmm. Andy Benton, we've seen change a lot with her forms. When she had Scream in particular, she has like 2 different aquatic forms, 2 different flying forms. She has like an armored form she can do, right? I want to see her, but as a person, she has a armored Hellmark form that allows her to go to hell. We know she can protect her symbiotes from her hellfire. I want to see her be able to protect herself from hellfire around them. And I want to see her with Silence evolve to like an armored Hellmark form. Right, go crazy, almost medieval with it down there, and they have to go down. But here's the catch: we know from the end of Venom 200 that Eddie Brock and Cap were talking, and he said, "I'm not the man. I have other things for you." I want Eddie Brock to come and talk to Cap through his like things he can do, shape shifting and stuff through time right now with his powers, and be like, "I told you to find Flash Thompson. You need to find him. He needs you for what's coming to happen." Flash Thompson is going to come in to help them in the middle of the fight in hell through whatever portal they open up, and Captain America is going to give him a shield to take with him. While
I like
because
this.
Cap can't survive, but he's like, Flash, you're the man for the job. I believe in you, and gives him a shield, right? I want to explore their relationship more, have him carry that with him, come in to help them in the middle of hell with this giant war going on, right? With it all, I want to see a whole war and holding back the gates of hell with symbiotes at the center, slaughtering these hybrids with it all. And I want Thor to show up, and I want another Dylan and Thor fighting back to back scene like we had in King in Black. I want more of their relationship. I want them to see each other and Dylan pull back the head in Venom and him be like, like Son of Brock, good to
remember
see you
you
again. Like, yeah, are you ready for round 2? You know it, Thor. Like, and then just like kicking ass together, right? Yeah, I want this whole
I love it.
Her mentoring, training the new generation of symbiote hosts, right? Holding it all back. Ghost Rider coming in to help fight with them. I want multiple Ghost Riders coming in to help fight, right? Like, let's get the Spirit of Corruption involved. Let's have a fully large-scale, self-contained event with Ghost Riders and symbiotes. I don't need one shots of in this arc event that we do of here's the Avengers version in this, the X-Men's in this. Screw that. We have enough powerhouses right there with Ghost Rider, with Thor coming in, the symbiotes, and the potential for everything set up with Andy Benton's skill set and all. Let's give her time to shine, and let's have them truly show how powerful they can be and hold back the gates of hell. That's what I want.
Dude, I love this.
I like that. I like
love it so much.
Thanks, guys. And I want Carnage to appear in it. I don't want Carnage to be the focus. We already have him doing hell stuff coming up right now in Helheim. He's got his stuff there, right? So he can give advice, maybe send like a fraction of him send off for Mephisto to play with and be like, don't disappoint me, right? And go back to doing his bullshit. But let's wrap up some of those loose ends. Let's give Andy Benton her time to shine. Let's push this young generation of symbiote hosts somewhere further by having the one person who's had a symbiote since she was a teenager help these teenagers with symbiotes navigate this new world they're in.
Yeah, I love it. And I love, like you just said, it not only ties up kind of loose threads that have been opened, but it expands it in a way that, it's open for new stories to be told. And it's great, man. You really hit the nail on the head with that one. We've talked a lot about that sim in hell before, so I love that you brought that back.
Yeah, man, I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to bring that back, and I think Andy Benton is truly the key, right? You have a human being with these magic powers to be able to hold off their hellfire, teleport to hell, and protect themselves. They can protect their symbiote from their own hellfire. Let's crank those powers up to 11, man. Let's have her just like let it all loose with a symbiote at the same time. Now that she has like an anti-symbiote thing going on, like let's go big.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, man. Both your guys' pitch blew me out of the water, man. We need to contact Marvel for both of y'all right now.
Bro, I feel like we could tie yours into mine together with it. Like Thor could be dealing with some Mangog shit with it. Turns out it wasn't Null, it was like a fraction of Carnage Null or whatever. And then that's how he gets sucked back. Like, yeah, we could tie it. Like we could get 2 stories going on. Let's do this.
We gotta hit the writer's room, man.
I like
Let's go.
I was not expecting Hell to have a fight in Hell. That's pretty fucking cool. I like that.
Yeah, man. Hell's where it's at. Like I said, I want, Cap is just a man. But when Cap believes in you, it means something. And Cap believes in Brock, and he believes in Venom, and he believes in the future with that for Dylan to do stuff. He was right there at the front at the end of the line. And Venom told him to look up and find Flash Thompson. He knows Flash. And he says, absolutely, Flash is the man for the job. But we haven't had follow-up on that really, right? Other than, now he's with the Savage Avengers. Like, yeah, let's get some Cap and him overlap. Cap has to go find Flash Thompson to get Flash there to help out with Andy and stuff. Yeah.
I love
that. Well, this has been fun, guys. I'm glad you guys really, really delivered today. I was glad we had this. This was fun.
Dude, this was so much fun. Like I said, we need to contact Marvel ASAP with both of your guys' ideas before good thing we recorded this. So now we have record of these ideas. So if someone tries to steal it, we're on your ass.
Listeners, viewers, people on Twitter, comment down below or wherever you're listening or watching this, or communicate with us. What if you guys liked one of our pitches, if you hated one of our pitches, if there's something you want us to expand on, if you want Cap to talk more on his, or Thor more on his, or me more on mine, let us know. We could talk about this stuff all day. And just thanks for tuning in and listening to us today.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like Gorgon said, let us know in the comments which of our pitches was your favorite. Do you have anything to add to any of our pitches? And let us know your pitches. We would love to hear what is your dream pitch for your favorite character. Like we said, we love nerding out about all this stuff. So please hit us up in the comments, hit us up on Twitter. Tell us what your dream pitch is, because we would love to hear it.
Tell us where to follow us at.
Follow us, obviously, at the Sons of Mjolnir on Twitter. Obviously, you can find Gorgon at The Last Gorgon, at Caps Comics, and then I am at The Fat Thor.
Enjoy your day. I hope you enjoyed the show, because it's been wonderful.
It has been wonderful. Thank you all for tuning in. May your stacks be fat this week. Stay hydrated, and we will see you guys all next time.